T.I.'s son, King Harris, has been arrested after not appearing in court and some other things connected to his actions.
We've all witnessed our fair share of messy celebrity scandals. But nothing, and I mean nothing, has ever plunged this deep into darkness. Tonight's story isn't about music charts, sold-out shows, or red carpet appearances. It's about something far more chilling. The spotlight now burns on King Harris, who lies unconscious in intensive care after what's being described as a savage takedown inside a Georgia prison. This wasn't some minor scuffle. It was an eruption of violence so raw, witnesses say even the guards struggled to regain control. Chaos ripped through the block that night. By the time order was restored, King wasn't just bruised or battered.
Trying to coddle him for. Let the man walk off, have some time to himself, sit down, soak it up, and come up with what he need to do.
He was a bloodied mess. Barely clinging to life, he had to be rushed away under armed escort, straight to the infirmary, while inmates and officers alike reeled from the carnage. The Harris family, usually poised and polished, is reportedly in full-blown panic as whispers spread faster than they can react. Insiders insist this wasn't a random scrap. It's being called a cold, calculated ambush, the kind of hit that reads less like prison politics and more like a message. Fame doesn't buy you immunity. This wasn't about proving toughness. It was about sending shocks through anyone who still believes a famous last name keeps you untouchable. And judging by the frenzy online, the tactic worked. Timelines exploded the second the news hit. Wild conspiracies, instant hot takes, and dozens of alleged inside sources flooded the feeds, each one adding fuel to the fire. One so-called source close to the Harris circle claims King was marked weeks ago for humiliation, a setup waiting to unfold. Others point fingers at simmering tension with inmates who hated how he carried himself, as if his last name were a crown behind bars. People keep asking, was his arrest the shock, or was it simply the moment his attitude met real consequences? Online critics talk about privilege and mock his social media bravado. King, you grew up privileged, bro, why are you here? While anonymous prisoners say he was warned, stop the flexing, stop the mouth, learn survival the hard way. The Prison Whisper Network paints a clear rule: arrogance equals a target. Suddenly, the threats turned deadly real, and the Harris family plunged into crisis mode. Insiders say T hasn't slept since the beating. He's on calls non-stop, burning through every connection he has, lawyers, politicians, old rivals, begging for the Georgia Department of Corrections to intervene before it's too late. One Atlanta source says the family is already throwing everything on the table. Blank checks, private promises, even hush-money NDAs just to get King moved or released. Picture that, a man who once styled himself King of the South, now watching his son collapse under prison dynamics. Tiny, meanwhile, has locked herself into a separate war room, coordinating publicists and legal advisors like a general under siege. Behind those closed doors, the public Harris unity is showing cracks, big ones. Word is T and Tiny are fighting so fiercely that friends can't tell whether they're arguing to save King or tearing each other apart. And the deeper you dig, the uglier it gets. Whispers about a contraband deal gone wrong, claims that King refused to play along, and accusations that he was lured into a hot zone where multiple inmates pounced. Even more chilling, reports say cameras conveniently malfunctioned the moment fists flew. The Department of Corrections denies any glitches, but former insiders are blunt. In Georgia, cameras break when they're supposed to. That line alone is terrifying. With King still in unstable condition, the family's meltdown is playing out in public like a slow-motion train wreck. Fans haven't forgotten the Falcons game incident where T.I. grabbed King in a headlock live on Instagram. What looked like a humiliating viral moment then now reads like the first act of something far darker. Sources say King was constantly taunted in the yard, mocked for privilege, for family scandals, for rumors that have haunted his parents for years. He allegedly tried to flex for clout, talk slick to rivals, and parade himself like a star. That behavior reportedly made him a lightning rod. As one ex-con put it bluntly, "We're not here for a reality show. If you run your mouth or don't pay, you get handled." The Harris camp is scrambling every PR and legal card they have. Public threats against the prison system for unsafe conditions, secret media outreach to control the narrative, and frantic bargaining behind the scenes. Shifting blame to a corrupt system is classic celebrity crisis playbook, but the bigger question everyone's asking, is it already too late to save him? Industry veterans whisper that the family's baggage made King a prime target. his name allegedly surfacing in old, dark allegations that still hang over T.I. and Tiny. A former friend has threatened to drop receipts that could drag the whole family into deeper trouble, and even if the feds have backed off for now, the stain in public opinion feels permanent. Digging into prison dynamics reveals something more brutal than celebrity scandal. A system where celebrity becomes currency and vulnerability becomes weaponized. High-profile inmates don't just serve time, they get turned into bargaining chips, pawns used by factions to flex power or settle scores both inside and out. Combine that with rumors of a botched contraband deal, and King's situation looks like swimming with sharks from day one. This is psychological warfare. Every stare, rumor, and offhand remark is a threat designed to break someone. In that environment, flashy flexes and famous last names mean nothing. Survival is earned, and the hammer falls fast. Now, the Harris dynasty itself is fraying under pressure. Insiders say this incident tops everything they've faced: the reality TV cancellations, lawsuits, even the Falcons fiasco, and the emotional fallout has been nuclear. Arguments are erupting, relatives dragged into chaos, and the whole family looks like it's standing in a blast zone of fear and blame. For years, King was painted as the pampered wild card, the unpredictable heir who loved chaos. Tonight, the narrative is flipped. His life hangs in the balance, the empire's image is cracking, and fans are left wondering whether this ends in redemption or the complete dismantling of a once untouchable brand. And the whispers, they keep getting darker. Who orchestrated the attack? Why did cameras fail? What really happens when a high-profile name goes inside a concrete jungle? Off the record, former correctional staff say celebrity status is often a liability in prison, an invitation to be used, sold, or broken. King's public persona, his reality TV past, and the Harris family's legal baggage allegedly painted a target on his back the moment he stepped through those gates. Now, while the world watches, one haunting thought hangs over it all. Was his high-profile life the very thing that sealed his fate? The answers, if they ever come, could rewrite everything we thought we knew about privilege, power, and prison. Sources say King Harris's privileged background marked him for hostility before he even set foot inside a cell. From day one, inmates resented him. Some saw a kid raised on private schools, TV cameras, and superstar lawyers, while others mocked him for trying to act like a hardened gangster when his biggest stage had been reality TV. Fame, instead of being a shield, painted a target on his back. Insiders call it the institutional hazing of celebrity prisoners, where every scrap of privilege gets twisted into punishment. If you walk in with a silver spoon, one source put it, the only thing you're holding is a liability. For years, King tried to outrun the label of privilege. He flexed online, talked tough, and built a persona that screamed rebellion. But those very performances may have sealed his fate. He pushed back against the idea that he lived in a bubble, insisting he hustled, struggled, and earned his stripes the hard way. In viral live streams and music, he proudly declared, "I stand on business." But the streets don't work like that. Credibility isn't inherited through jewelry or a last name. It's earned in scars, silence, and sacrifice. And those who try hardest to prove themselves often pay the steepest price. In the months leading up to his incarceration, King's behavior spiraled between public meltdowns and flashes of vulnerability. Friends say he lived every day like he was on trial, restless and furious, trying to prove an image that didn't fit. That infamous Falcons game where T.I. snapped and put him in a headlock now looks less like embarrassing family drama and more like a chilling warning sign. Branded as the wild card of the Harris dynasty, he flaunted chains and cryptic posts online, but insiders say behind the defiance was confusion and chaos he couldn't control. For rival inmates, targeting King wasn't just violence, it was opportunity. Taking him down meant clout, respect, and headlines in one brutal move. When the ambush finally came, it didn't just shake the Harris family, it rattled the system. Now correctional officers scramble to move him before his name becomes a pawn in prison politics, while on the outside, T.I. and Tiny wage separate battles. T.I. is burning every connection, calling lawyers, politicians, and old allies in desperation, while Tiny fights to protect what's left of their public image. But the cracks in their dynasty are widening, and the world is watching. The critics are merciless, pointing out the irony of a young man born into privilege now paying the ultimate price for trying to live a life he was never built for. Was King dragged into chaos by the weight of his family's legacy, or did he run headfirst into the storm, convinced fame would shield him? Either way, the fallout is tearing at the Harris family dynasty itself, exposing a brutal truth. Inside prison, money doesn't buy respect, last names don't buy protection, and the only currency that matters is power, earned in pain. Whether this becomes King's redemption story or the beginning of his family's darkest chapter, one thing is certain: the Harris name will never look the same again.